is the difference between this problem and the one we solved together. The difference is that there is a remainder for the division. Now let's explain this. So what was the question of number 2? We were asked to divide these two numbers, 543 by 65. Now let's write it in the standard algorithm form. So here I will write the 543 and here I will write the 65. Now let's check. What do I do? I'm going to start first of all by taking these first two numbers. So if I start 54 divided by 65, I cannot. So what does that mean? This 54 is less than the 65. So I will take the 543. Now I will divide the 543 by the 65. To make the division easier, we will start dividing 54 by 6, which is equal to 9. Let's check what will happen. If I write the 9 here, what will the answer be? We're going to write it over here. Now, let's check. But I have to write it over the ones. Why? Because I took the three numbers. Now, let's check. When I multiply, I will get the following. 9 multiplied by 65 is equal to 585. Now, what do I notice? I notice that there is something wrong. And I wonder if you are also able to determine it. What is wrong? I'm sure that many of you will notice that 585 is greater than the number that we are dividing. So, it's what? It's 543. Now, what do I do in this case? This is why we are going to try a smaller number. So, instead of taking the 9, I will take an 8. So, instead of this number, I will multiply this time. 8 times 65 and my new product is 520. So, let's write it together. I will write here 520. Now, what do? I'm going to subtract. So, when I subtract 520 from 543, the answer will be 23. You can notice that the result of the subtraction is smaller than the what? Than the divisor. So this means we will not divide anymore. And 23 is the remainder. So I'm going to go over here and write the remainder as 23. So what is my quotient? My quotient is 8 and the remainder is 23. Now let's go for question 3. In question 3, what was it? Let's check. We were asked to divide these two numbers. 756 divided by 22. Just like last time, we are going to construct our standard algorithm. Inside, I will write my dividend, and outside, I'm going to write my divisor. Now, let's check. I'm going to take the first two digits and divide. 75 divided by 22. Now, what do I see? I can divide. Why? Of course, because the 75 is greater than the 22. Now, what do? I'm going to start dividing the first number by the first number. So 7 divided by 2, which is in the what? Tens place. And this is equal to what? 3. We will write it above the 5 over here. Now, don't forget it's in the tens place. After that, we are going to multiply 3, which is 30, times 22. So the answer is equal to 660. Now, what do? I'm going to subtract. So when I subtract 756 minus 660, what do I get? I get a 96. Now, let's continue. The result here is still greater than the what? Than the 22. Now, I will start with the first digits. 9 divided by 2, which is in the what? In the tens place here. And this is equal to 4. This time I'm going to write it where? In the ones place. Now 4 multiplied by 22 is 88. Now what am I going to do? The next step is to subtract. So when I subtract 96 minus 88, the answer is going to be 8. Now 8 is less than the divisor, which is 22. And also there are no more digits in the dividend. So this means that this 8 represents the remainder. So my quotient is 34 with a remainder of 8. So let's write it. It's 34 with a remainder of 8.
تقدر تتابع كل دروسك على تطبيق مدرستنا بلس. مدرستنا، المستقبل يبدأ الآن.